Remember zoning out in the middle of a class? Or better yet, at a meeting where you're supposed to have your full undivided attention? You probably do, because we all do it. And I won't lie, I've done it too. But one thing I notice whenever I zone out, at least, is that like you feel this level of calm that's like you can't compare it to anything else. It's like a relaxation flow where everything seems to like reset, and then you wake up out of your zoning out and all of a sudden it feels like everything is like new, or you just woke up even though you were never asleep in the first place. And I thought that was interesting, so I was wondering, is it possible to like replicate that or do it on command? So that's what I went to find out, and well, this video is about what I found out about that. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned. Hello everyone, my name is Anu and welcome to my video on gazing. Now, you are probably reading the title of my video and going, "Hey yo, what the why does someone make a video on gazing? What are they getting out of this?" And then you saw the start of the video and you were like, wait, he's talking about zoning out. They're not the same thing, surely? And you'd be right. They're not the same thing, exactly. But I think they're related. And I think one can lead to the other, which I'll explain more as we go on. But because of that, I thought I'd put them both in the same video. Now, I don't want to spend too much time dawdling on that, so let's get straight into the video. Let's jump into it. Well, gazing, how mindful is it? Why should we care? You know, all the videos on my channel thus far have been about mindfulness, and this is no exception. But I do want to say that this is one of those videos that before I went down the mindful rabbit hole, that I was like, gazing or just like staring or zoning out, it's definitely good for us. But why? So it's actually been pretty interesting even before I got into it. So yeah, this is my chance to go over it within the rabbit hole, I guess.
People, why are you laughing for? What, Chris, why are you laughing for? Why are you laughing for? I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Alright, so there was some researcher back in 1997 who was like, mindfulness is a core psychotherapy principle, and to be honest, to most of us that means nothing. Like, okay, it just sounded cool, so I wanted to mention it. But the more relevant part of that paper was that there is a form of mindfulness that is kind of like quiet, unfocused attention rather than having to focus on something. Now, obviously, that paper was from quite a while ago. 1997 is a long time ago now. It might not feel like it, but it is. And
a few moments later,
you know, since then we've had a lot of different papers or studies or a lot of different research on it, and I guess they boiled it down to two different types of mindfulness, and those are focused attention and open monitoring. So what are they? Focused attention would be, you know, working on achieving a task or a specific thing you're focused on. So if you're cooking, it would be cooking. If you're meditating, it would be something like, oh, you know, you're focused on your breathing, or you're focused on a certain thought, or you're focused on a certain place in your mind. And whereas on the other hand, you have open monitoring, which would be more so like, you know, just observing the area around you. And it doesn't even have to be observing, like sensing, or just like taking note of your surroundings and not paying too much particular attention to anything, and just kind of letting everything happen around you. And that's sort of kind of the idea with what I'm getting at with gazing, because that's the type of mindfulness that you're going to be looking for. Open monitoring isn't just an idea or a theory or something that still needs to be studied. It has been studied and it has been proven to be beneficial for us. Open monitoring has been proven to benefit our brain by improving our memory function or making us less judgmental and therefore happier with ourselves. It's also been beneficial for enhancing certain subcomponents of our attention and its functioning. So if you have trouble with attention, it's also been beneficial. And also, it's been really good for counteracting self-control depletion. Meaning, we have better self-control if we practice open monitoring a little more. That's just a few to name some of the benefits of it. But it's not, I just wanted to mention those to show that it's not something that's just a theory or an idea. It has been proven to be beneficial for us. Now, if we're to take gazing as a way of practicing open monitoring, it's great because, well, you don't really need anything specific to do gazing. You just really need your eyes, and you can do it anywhere, pretty much at any time. So we can get those benefits without having to risk too much or use too much time or resources. We can just kind of do it. And you know, a lot of people might think that, oh, you need like a good view or something to gaze, or something to gaze at, or I don't know, anything, but that's not necessarily the case. You could literally stare at the floor if that's what fancies you. But even if you do want sort of a pretty view to gaze at, you'll always have the stars. It doesn't matter where in the world you are at nighttime, you will have the stars. Maybe you'll have to look outside your windows and you'll have to hope that it's not as cloudy as it is, because it's very cloudy over here in Ireland. But yeah, you're gonna hope that it's not cloudy and that you can actually see up into the sky. But you will have that opportunity at some point, you know, and it doesn't always have to be a pretty view. It could literally be you sitting in your room, bored out of your mind, and all you're gonna do is just look at the table, and that counts. It doesn't even have to be the table, it just has to be your room. Or you go out to a park and you just sit down and observe the world around you. That's what it is to do open monitoring, and that is how you're gonna get those benefits. Okay, it's time for the caveat. What is the caveat? I thought you said zoning out and gazing were the same thing, and they're not really. They can be, but they're not really. So let's go back to when I explained open monitoring and focused attention. So when we went into that, you know, open monitoring would be gazing. Now, zoning out is a little different. It could be both or either open monitoring or focused attention. If you're zoned out and you're not thinking of anything, or you have a bunch of thoughts just flying through your mind, yeah, that might be categorized as open monitoring. But sometimes when we zone out, we're thinking of something very specific, or there's something on our mind that we just kind of get lost in thought on, and we're trying to figure out. And in that case, that's not really open monitoring, that's focused attention. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get any that, how do I put this? That, you know, if it is the other type, that you're not gonna be mindful, because the other one is also a way of being mindful. But the benefits that you get from open monitoring and focused attention are actually different. But another reason why I included them in the video is because if you gaze for a certain period of time, you might actually just zone out. Especially if you're bored out of your mind and you just gaze, like, you will probably zone out, if not fall asleep, which could be mindful depending on which way you look at it. But yeah, but even if you happen to go into focused attention and it's not open monitoring and you're not getting the exact benefits that these researchers have shown you, you're still being mindful. And also, open monitoring and focused attention have been shown to have different benefits. So, you know, maybe it's a good thing that you get a different type of it. But also, it's worth noting that a lot of times when people try to be mindful, you know, you go down the regular avenues of mindfulness, meditation, or yoga, or, you know, going for a walk. And going for a walk is a good example of open monitoring too, but it could be if you're focused on your steps or your breathing or the nature around you, it might not be. But open monitoring is another option. So gazing is another option. It's a different option. It's not the same type of mindfulness. It's not the same level of mindfulness. So it's good to change things up, because if you don't change things up, you're going to get bored of them and you won't be mindful after a while, or you won't try to be at least. And yeah, like maybe you're trying to be mindful and you're doing cooking and whatever, and it's not working for you. Then you also have the option to try something different with gazing, or with zoning out, or with walking, or with anything. And that's why I wanted to make all these different videos, to show that, yeah, you have a lot of options when it comes to being more mindful in your daily life. I guess that's what the point of all these videos is. But anyways, that's enough of my yapping. Actually, like halfway through talking there, I was like, what am I even saying? Am I even making sense? If I'm not making sense, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try explain myself a little better, but I might just be yapping, and that's completely fine. But thank you for hanging around and listening to my chit chat, and I'll still be here. I'll be uploading in 2 weeks time, so I'll see you then, or maybe sometime in the future. But thank you for hanging around, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.